What up, gays, straights, and other theys? My name's Maliam, and welcome back to Lady in Mystery. Yes, new intro. Figured it was time for a change. We're back in the gayest little game I've seen in a very long time that isn't some weird lesbian Twilight. Welcome back to Lady in Mystery. We're gonna get right back into it. Completely forgot what I was doing, but I think we're still running off with this girl, Juhee. I've also heard Juhee. I don't know which one it is, but I'm just gonna call her Juhee for now. I was so stupid. It would have been much better to just marry that son of the interior minister. Juhee was non-stop complaining with her legs hanging off of an ox cart. If only she wasn't a noble lady. I think I was ready to hand her in regardless of status, but okay. If only she wasn't a noble lady from Northern Village, it would be so much easier to handle her, but there was nothing much we can do about her. My brother, who's actually a woman— Wait! Is this from Woo-sung? I think that was his name. It's been a while. Is this from Woo-sung's point of view? Because I'm the one masquerading as a man to protect myself, because this is a very different time period. Well, assuming this is from his point of view, I guess I'll change voices. My brother, who's actually a woman, has studied a lot of Confucian books, so it was easier for him. I always just had to sit there and say nothing. Words are hard. And now this is the result. Juhee has been talking for almost an hour by herself now. I told you I would just stay in the tavern. How would I be sure that you're not going to make any trouble? I had so much to say, but I just couldn't get it out of my mouth. Oh, Woo-sung, if you want her, you can have her. I'm interested in Sword Lady, okay? Already forgotten her name. Now we're heading to a residence for government officials at Yangju. A while ago, the police superintendent Zhang from Upocheong was dispatched to somewhere far, but he left some files here. That old man is forgetting a lot of things these days. So we decided to take the files to him with pay. The noble lady was more used to being a palanquin and walking on the soft road. So her trip to this endless walking and riding in a rattling ox cart was not something she could easily get used to. Was somebody cranky because she doesn't have a cushion up her ass. I shouldn't have believed your lies. I shouldn't have trusted you and put myself in this situation. Oh, boo. Get over yourself. Juhee kept complaining. Meanwhile, petals were falling on the road from the tree with all those pretty little flowers. Since it was drizzling quite hard last night, a lot of flowers were already on the ground. Oh, pretty! Ooh. My brother was just picking up the petals, so I'm gonna assume this is from Woo-sung's point of view, because that's what it seems like. I guess he's not really paying attention to whatever Juhee has to say. Yeah, this is from Woo-sung's point of view. Oh, I'm pretty. Hey, that's my hair now, kind of. Those kinds of behaviors make him look more like a woman. Okay, cool. Suddenly I got worried. Juhee was also looking at him the whole time. What should I do? Okay, I don't know why we switched point of views, but this is okay. Excuse me, lady. So I ended up just calling her. But I had nothing to say, so I was just frowning. I could see that she was getting annoyed. Oh yeah, I have a question for you. A question? You saw how he looks, right? The only son of the interior minister or whatever? So if you compare him to me or my brother, who do you think is better looking? Nice save, big or little brother. I can't remember who's older. Juhee frowned like she just heard the stupidest thing ever, but then she looked back and forth at me and my brother. The only son of interior minister looked more gentle, but you look more masculine. And? Oh, I did the wrong voice. Whoops. And I think your older brother is the prettiest. Why do you ask? I was just wondering since you mentioned your marriage. By the way, what do you mean my brother is pretty? He's a guy. I'm interested in women, so I only care if something is pretty or not. What? That's not how lesbians work, but okay. Don't like it? Then just ask a straight girl. Okay, fair. I wonder how many people on this team are actually, like, in the LGBTQIA+ community. Like, how many people that actually made this game are actually, you know, lesbians? Juhee shook her head a little and then looked away from me. If I have to marry one of you, I would marry your older brother. Well, no thank you. Who's gonna handle your rowdiness? I'll run away even if you beg me to marry you. Well said, because I'm only interested in Sword Lady. Do you want to move out right now? Oh, fuck you. He told her we're both guys, but how could she recognize that one of us is actually a woman and call her pretty? Now I really think she can't be cured. Excuse you? Brother of mine? I need to have some words with you? You cannot cure— oh my god. If it turns out that my character and my lover, whoever that may be, although I'm convinced it's Sword Lady because she's very cute, if we end up dead by the end of this, I'm gonna be upset because they need to stop killing us at the end of every movie and every TV show and every— can we just live and be happy by the end of this, please? I was a little uncomfortable that she talks about her lesbianisms every so often like nothing, but now I feel like it's just who she is. Well, yes, it kind of is. Also, I don't know how comfortable other lesbians are with the term, but I don't know. Lesbianism just feels weird to talk about my sexuality like that. Like, you wouldn't call it straightism, would you? But it's just, it's weird to me. It's like another way of othering myself, I guess. So I don't ever use the term lesbianism, and I don't know if other lesbians use that term at all. I don't know. It's my sexual orientation. I prefer women. That you don't need to label it like it's some sort of like disease or lifestyle choice or something, because it's not a lifestyle choice. I don't know. The word lesbianism to me, it just seems like it's a choice, like something that you can pick up and put down at any time. It's very strange to me, and I'm not comfortable with the term. I'm just worried that she might find out that my brother is actually a woman with her hunch. Well, would that really be so bad, though? She might be nicer to me, actually. The ox cart we hitchhiked on the way was heading to the town where the residence was. I forgot what we're doing and where we're going. Oh, thank you, title card. Oh my god. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that title sequence. Cool. Great. Can we go back to my point of view, please? Woo-sung's a little gruff to be doing— oh! Episode 2, Some Like It Hot. Okay, if you haven't seen the movie, you're not gonna know why I laughed. Go watch the movie Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. It's so good, and you'll probably understand why I'm laughing now. But, let's get right back into— oh my god, this is gorgeous. Oh. This game is so pretty, like the artwork and the music is so well done. Oh my goodness, this is honestly worth it to me. Unless they kill us off at the end, then I'm gonna be upset. Anyway. Who do we have here? Oh. She's back! My sword lady's back! Oh my goodness, hi honey. The first thing we saw as we arrived at— oh no. I start taking Korean classes because I'm going to upset a lot of people. Okay, I'm just gonna say the city because I don't trust myself to even attempt that. I'm sorry. The first thing we saw as we arrived at the city was Police Inspector Park Wong-sam and Damo Jae-seon, who were waiting for us. They were waving a towel at us with a smile on their faces. Seon is a sassy woman, so she wasn't smiling at all. I don't— because our last interaction, she was just kind of quiet. She wasn't necessarily sassy. Did people just denote women who don't smile as, like, sassy or snobbish? Because that is sexist. Okay, anyway, here we go. When I got closer, Wong-sam's face was all red like he got drunk. Doesn't it always look like that? Have you been drinking again? You came here to work, and how come you're already so drunk when the sun's still up? Your face is so warm. How did you even know we're coming? Hey, Mr. Detective! Wong-sam's cheek was so warm like a ball of fire. He put his cheek on my hand for a while, then suddenly gave a sigh, ripping off his tangled beard. What? What is it? Did you just rip your beard from your face? You can use a razor! You are gonna spend the night here, right? Since you brought your sister here. What? Oh, we're pretending Juhee's my half— oh, yeah, right, I forgot. It's been a minute. Sure, we should eat and get some sleep before we go. I gave him the file, but both Wong-sam and Sejong's face are dark. I heard they came here to help Superintendent Zhang's work, but I think something happened here. I guess something happened? What is it? But Wang Sum didn't answer right away and asked us to come to their residence first. Ooh, something go down. We followed Wang Song to the Yangzhou residence, and it was decorated resplendently. It didn't seem like it was just for a couple of policemen. I felt like they just put some luxury flags and cleaned the wall to look better than other places. Wang Sum looked around first in front of the residence. He looked around thoroughly to see if other officials were watching, and then gestured at us to come in. Ooh, pretty room. I like the black furniture. We were not invited, so we hurriedly sneaked in. When we arrived at some kind of temporary office, Se-yeon brought some hangover tea to Wang Sum. You should sober up now. Aren't you embarrassed in front of them? I'm sorry, I just like looking at her face. She's so cute. Her face was blank, but I'm sure she was angry. Even Juhee was peeping at Damo. Wang Sum drank up the hot tea and explained the situation. We came here to Yangzhou office because Upo Xiong needed to get reported about Yangzhou's office work. And my boss, Superintendent Zhang, was dispatched here since he's the oldest of us, so I came along with him. I know that. You do it every year, right? Yes. As always, Superintendent Zhang is very strict. He started scolding the officers here for not doing a good job as soon as he got the report. Wang Sum's voice was lower than usual. It was just the usual stuff, but he kept feeling his forehead and frowning. So, you got your report. Isn't that it then? And I just brought you the files you forgot. That's not the problem. When the commissioner and I arrived here, someone got murdered in this town. What? This case just got way more what the? I didn't know there was gonna be actual, death in this game. Someone got murdered? Yes, and they say now that we're here, we, policemen, should take care of this kind of case. And they asked us to investigate the case. But the thing is, they said they're asking us a favor, but they're basically just being ridiculous. They won't let us use their government physician or their coroner. They say we would be able to figure out ourselves since Post-Xiong is so great. I think they're just being mean to us after they got scolded by Superintendent Zhang. Gosh, how did they end up getting so many enemies? That's not even the beginning of the problem. Superintendent Zhang was supposed to go to the crime scene with me this morning, but now he's sick in bed. Since he's old, he got sick from all that travel coming here. I can't force him to go investigate with me when that old man has a fever, and it would be embarrassing for Post-Xiong to tell the officers here that they can't go on an investigation today, because the commissioner is sick in bed from the trip to come here. You are the inspector. You are in charge when there isn't a commissioner. Why don't you ask him to give you a power of attorney and go to the scene by yourself? That's another problem. That crime scene is the house of Yangban's. We can't go to their house with just us policemen. On my last leg, so I was just drinking all day. Then I realized I left some important files in Hongyang. And since both police departments are busy, I figured you might be able to carry it with you for me. That's why I was at the entrance. This is all well and good, but can I get back to flirting with Sword Lady, please? So if I hadn't come here, you wouldn't have any solution at all? That's why I'm so glad to see you here. Help me out here, sir. Wang Sung grabbed my hands. He reeked of alcohol. It's hard for only policemen to go to Yangban's house and ask around for investigation. So he wanted me to be there as a Yangban and be the proxy of Superintendent Zhang. We would stay a few more nights here, but we don't have any money. Look, we have nothing. I shook off my empty sleeves and stood up. Then Wu Sung added a comment. It's as he said. Can't stay here longer because we don't have any money. What do you mean, This time we're doing Superintendent Zhang a favor, so we can't do it for free. Superintendent Zhang is going to pay for it anyway, so we're not putting Wang Sum any pressure. Oh, is this a standard thing that we do to get money? Okay. Zhang is better at negotiating our pay since he's been through a lot since he was a kid. He'll set everything up if I just let him take care of the rest. Okay. Then when I turned my back, a strange sight caught my eyes. I haven't noticed until now that Juhee and Se-yeon were sitting next to each other in the room. What? And how old are you? Huh? Oh, well, I'm 21 now. Oh, she's younger than me. I will allow it. I'm sorry, normally I prefer older women. Across Se-yeon, who was struggling to answer the question, was Juhee scanning her like a vulture with its prey. What, are you interested? Juhee kept asking a lot of questions to Se-yeon, grabbing her sleeves. Juhee was not acting like a normal people. I'm assuming that is bad grammar, so Se-yeon got confused and didn't seem to know how to react. I think she's flirting. I think she's flirting. Seon has always been like a statue with a blank face. Have I known her for a while? And how have I not made a move yet? I haven't seen her being awkward like this in a long time. Juhee didn't seem to care at all about her surroundings. She was staring directly at Seon's eyes, examining her nose and lips and listening very carefully to her answers. I became Damo since I was young, so I've been living in Pocheong for over 10 years, so... so Damo can't get married while she's working for Pocheong? Oh my, that's too bad. You are so flirting right now. No, it's not like that. Juhee is finally showing her true colors. She's with those intense eyes. Why is she looking at Wow, she's dumber than I am. Oh my goodness. As I was at a loss, Woo-sung came to me after finishing the negotiation. We're getting the same amount of pay as usual. I told him we'll help, but it's another murder case. I don't want you to be in the murder scene again. They can't abandon the case because their power struggle when a person is dead. By the way, look at Juhee. What is she doing? She's flirting, you idiot. Woo-sung turned his head to where I pointed and was at a loss just like I was a while ago. I nudged Woo-sung's leg with my knee. See? She only smiles like that to girls, because she's flirting, you nut. Oh my god. That's too obvious. You still think she looks at me in a weird way? After you saw that? Shouldn't we save Damo from her first? Yeah, bring her to me. But before Woo-sung even finishes his sentence, Wong-sam opened the door and rushed in. He searched the drawers in the desk to pack his things, got his key, and sent a signal to Seon. Hey Seon, you stay here. I can't take Damo with me when Superintendent Zhang is sick. Take good care of him and take good care of this gentleman's sister. Okay. What? Are you leaving me here? Seon seemed flustered, but then she lowered her head. It was a special case that she follows everywhere he goes, so there was nothing weird if he doesn't take her for once. But Seong seemed to be conscious about Juhee sitting next to her when she gave a glance at her. Oh, little baby gaze. Meanwhile, Juhee seemed excited that she's going to be here along with Damo. Yeah, I wonder why. I'd be excited too. Have a safe trip. Don't come back too fast. I'll take good care of this residence. She even waved her hand at us to say goodbye. Oh, I'm not staying. Same lady who had been so grumpy and hasn't stopped complaining for even 1 second. Hey. Thank you, logo. Oh, yay. Yay. There were people gathering around the wall of the house, but then they all scattered away as soon as they saw the police. How dare you to interrupt the investigation of the police? Hey, don't. Wong-sam wasn't discouraged at all by my dissuasion. He waved his six-sided club at people running away and yelled at him, "Why do you have a club with you?" Unlike a few minutes ago, he was full of confidence that came from Yongbang's presence. Okay. When we got into the house, I could see a wide, empty yard, a closed door of the main building, and a newly built detached building. But there was no one coming out to greet us. That's odd. Usually there should be at least one old servant coming out to greet us. Don't they greet their guests in this house? Even all the rooms were dark. It was so quiet like no one's here at all, probably because they're all dead! Well, they say they don't have any nobi here. No nobi? They were running out of money, so they had to sell every single nobi in this house. There is one old kitchen maid taking care of the kitchen and Mrs. Yi who does the laundry for this house. That's basically the same as not having a nobi at all. They only have one young servant left to attend them. So there are only Yongbang brothers, one kitchen maid, and a servant in this house. The house was quite luxurious for that. The size of this house in this kind of town should be for a powerful family with a status that's so high that even a district magistrate can't have any effect on them. But according to Wong-sam, they live even worse than some mediocre Yongbangs in the suburban area of Hangyeong. So that was weird. Then bring that one servant here. Well, he's the one who's dead. Why did you count him along with the living? Oh my god. Thank you for leaving that out until the very last minute. What? His name is... servant name. He was a servant and he worked for him even though he's a plebeian, not a nobi. He died in this house yesterday, so there's officially no servant in this house now. So do I have to call the owner myself in this house? It's more like they don't want to talk to us. They would have known that we're coming, but they're still in their room, so it's pretty obvious. They must be planning to stand us up for days so we'd waste our... That is ridiculous. Even though the dead man's social status was low, they can't interrupt the investigation like this. Well, then I will walk myself up to the floor and knock on their door because I'm not waiting for this. I know they're in the room. I can't just let them ignore us. I took off my shoes and stepped on their detached building's wooden floor without permission. Excuse me, sir. Sir, the police need to investigate this case. You need to come out. When I banged the door with my fist, then those two young buns freaked out and opened the door. They were shocked to see me standing on their floor without shoes. Those brothers, who resemble each other in a way, looked around the people in their yard like a fool and looked angrily at me. Who are you? The skinny one with the offended face asked me aggressively. His younger brother still had soft hair on his face, but he barely had a thin beard on his face. Fish! Fish, where? That is smooth! No. There's nothing there. Their age gap must be so wide since the older one seemed quite old already. I took out the paper from my sleeve and showed it to him. I'm a representative of Pocheong. You can see the letter of attorney here. The skinny one snatched the letter of the attorney and scanned me from upside to down. Like he's telling me that I'll remember what kind of reckless person I am. But when he caught my eyes, he got frightened and stepped back. Ugh. What are you so surprised for? He didn't answer. He stared at me like I was his arch enemy for quite a long time, then he threw the letter up in the air and went back to his room. Thanks. Then the younger brother came up front instead of his brother. We're going to... Okay, we're moving. I'm Kim Jae. My brother isn't feeling well now, so you can just talk to me. He looked young and fragile, but his voice was confident and his tone was elegant. Oh, that's not the voice I gave you. He had a pale and pretty face with sentimental atmosphere, which makes him quite attractive. Yes. He was definitely a good-looking guy. Sure. I'm Kim Hee-soo from Hongyeong. Like I said, I'm just acting commissioner here, and I'm gonna investigate this case. You must feel pretty devastated too that this horrible thing happened in your house. I tried to console him and grabbed Kim Jae's hands. Then Kim Jae got flustered, nodded shortly, and smiled at me awkwardly. Is he gay? Oh, this is pathetic that I'm happy for any crumb of representation. I'll take you to the dead servant's room. Okay? He must have been self-conscious about his brother's attitude. He kept making excuses for him on the way. Oh, pretty. I don't want you to think of my brother as too weird. About what? I don't care. He is a sensitive person like any other Yongbang in this kind of area. I don't know about Hongyeong, but if you were a Yongbang in a small town, it's easy to get petty. He's been through a lot, so please understand him. I understand. Just lost his wife. I get it. Wait, what? Was he married to the... What? Hold on. What? Hee-soo, you want to catch me up? What did you... When? Okay. The younger one got surprised and looked up. He seemed to be on guard now, thinking we did some background check on them. Where did you hear that? His clothes were all wrinkly. If he has a wife, she would have taken care of his clothes, and if his wife had been dead for long, or if he'd never married, then he would be able to take care of himself by now. So I just noticed that he lost his wife. You are smarter than I am. I didn't mean anything else. Well, the brother just confirmed it, so you're kinda screwed, mate. Kim Jae seemed relieved and gave a sigh. He let his guard down again. You have good eyes. If I'd known you earlier, I would have asked you to help us catch the thieves in this town. What thieves? There have been a lot of theft cases lately. They've been robbing our kitchen and our storage every so often. Before the servant died, he used to keep this house from them, but they would still do harm in this house. Young Yongbang shook his head with a bitter face. Hee-jun was a very competent guy for a servant, so he not only kept the house safe, but he also volunteered to patrol this town. He used to catch thieves and beat the hell out of them. Can't believe this happened to him. Alright. I'm gonna get another weird title card? Oh, no. I guess we're in his room now. The dead man's room was a small slice room right near the wall. The room was a mess like a thief just stirred up. What had happened? Oh, we actually get to play now. Sorry, I was feeling like this was a visual novel or so. Oh my god, everything makes noise. Everything makes noise. I forgot that this was actually a game. We haven't been able to do much for a while. Well, we're gonna go for the obvious here. The room was a mess. Okay, thank you. Nothing was in where it's supposed to be, and all the drawers were open. A stationary chest was broken, and it seemed like it fell off once, since its corners were all damaged. There was some dirt on the floor as well. I opened every single box in this room, but all the money and valuables were gone. I thought I'd be able to poke around by myself. What? Then Woo-sung, who was searching for the evidence in the same room, shouted, "When did you get here? I thought you were waiting back with Juhee and... What? There's a blood stain on the wall." "You mean the one I just pointed out?" Woo-sung pointed out the wall on the opposite side of me. "Ew, ow." A loud ping in my ear. Woo-sung pointed out the wall on the opposite side of me. I got closer and got on my tiptoe, but it was too high for my height. Good to know we're both short. The blood stain was at Woo-sung's eye level. I think someone had fought in this room. I went inside the room trying not to step on any debris on the floor. The room was such a mess and I couldn't tell what is what. Some policemen have been searching for a while in this room, but I can't even guess how it would have been looked like originally. Some of the objects seem like someone damaged them on purpose. But it seems weird. Something's off. Yes, the room's a mess. It's because it's been robbed. Woo-sung answered without thinking and scratched his head. No, what I mean by weird is... Yeah, why this room? Because this is a servant. Wouldn't you attack someone of higher status? What I mean by weird is that it's either a thief or an assailant. I wonder why they came to this room. What do you mean? Isn't that a little too weird? They risked their life and jumped off the wall of Yongbon's house. They should have robbed Yongbon's room. Why would they want to rob a servant's room who doesn't even have money? So they can run away quickly, maybe? Or the servant pulled a Juhee, faked his or her death, and ran away. Damn, Juhee, why can't you be that creative? Because it's closer to the wall. If they wanted to run away quickly, they would have gone to the storage first. Normal thieves would rob the storage in a shed first, which are closer to the door, where no one really comes at night. If they still have time after robbing the storage in a shed, then they would gamble and go for a room. If they chose the house of the richest Yongbon house, that means they've already done their research and they are not alone. Also, if they've been robbing the same house multiple times and still haven't been caught, it means they are professional. And why would they decide to rob a room with someone in it? Not just someone, but a bulky servant's room. Then Wong-sum Oh, that's right, you're with me. I don't know when Woo-sung got here, but Wong-sum's here too. Everyone stood there and looked around the room again. It didn't seem like there was any valuable stuff here. The wall was old and the floors worn out. It was literally a servant's room. They wouldn't have confused this room with Yongbon's room. Then Kim Jae suddenly started talking as if he just remembered something. I think it's because Ki-jun was supposed to move out soon. He was about to quit his job here and move to somewhere else, so we gave him some more money for his salary. Quite a lot of money. Then it means the suspect is someone who knew about it. Then it means he might get killed by someone he knows. This town is so small that everyone knows each other. Kim Jae gave a sigh like he was in pain. Oh, okay, we're just gonna... Thank you for letting me investigate, I guess? Tell me the actual quote-unquote gameplay is gonna be a little more involved than that. Come on. Next, we headed to quite a big liquor storage a little far from the main building. There was an endless forest on the back, and it had its own road. It was that big. Wong-sum went ahead and opened the door. As soon as he opened the door, don't jump scare me like that. It reeked with a mix of blood and filth. Inside was the body of Kishoke. A body covered with blood was lying on its stomach in the middle of the storage just as he died. I was a bit surprised, but Wong-sum was so calm as if he's just watched some dead cows or pigs, so I had to try to keep calm. But since Woo-sung was very squeamish ever since he was little, his face turned pale. Are you okay, brother? He's just asking me if I'm okay because he's scared. I got anxious suddenly and looked around. Only 4 policemen came here with us to the storage. A couple of them must have stayed in Ki-jun's room. Generally, the government coroner should examine the body with a local law officer and a physician's presence. But Yangju Prefecture wouldn't provide any of them, so we have to examine it ourselves. No. Woo-sung seemed to freak out and pushed Wong-sum's back. But I don't think Wong-sum would know anything about the body. Trying to think of all the medical books and death certificates I read, I bent over the body first. Then Woo-sung freaked out. No, brother. Are you guys going to just watch and let a Yongbon touch the body? What are you doing just standing right there? Woo-sung pulled me over, yelling at the other people. What are you doing? How can you touch the body with your own hand? There's so many other people here. Woo-sung held my hand and rubbed it on his clothes. He's a big guy, and yet he acted like a boy who's never seen blood before. I stared at my hand for a while and gave a sigh to Woo-sung. Then who's going to examine the body? There's no coroner here. Are you going to do it then? You only call me my lady when you're whining, but you act like a boss in this kind of situation. See, it's not like you're going to do it, just step back. Wait, when did he ever call me my lady? Woo-sung couldn't answer. Other policemen at least pulled out the body and cut off the clothes for me. Oh, that's actually really clever. They're like showing the body without actually showing me the gore. That's actually really neat. Nice. Without his white clothes and underwear, Hee-jun seemed about 5'7" and he had broad shoulders. When I looked through his hair, I could find a dent as if he was hit by a rock, and there were handprints on his neck like someone was strangling him. It was definitely a homicide. There was a pool of blood from his head. Based on the bloodstain, even though he might have fought in his room, he must have died in the storage. I wish we have a coroner here with us to figure out the time of his death. Jeez. Hong-sun marked with a twig near bloodstain and shook his head. I think it hasn't been that long since he died. Let me see. It's confusing to apply what I read from the book to a real body, but let me touch the body first. We're not gonna do gloves? Alright. Isu's a badass. At that moment when I rolled up my sleeve, Woo-sung, who had been so anxious the whole time, shut his eyes tight and squatted down. Forget it, brother. I'll just do it. I'll do it. No, you won't. Step back. Why? Woo-sung rolled up his sleeves aggressively and put his bare hands to the body. Woo-sung is originally the son of a shaman. He is from the lowest class, so he had a lot of butcher friends. I can't remember if we talked about this already in previous episodes, but are we biological siblings? Because Yusu's talking like we don't have the same father. Or maybe we're an adopted pair? Butchers can tell if an animal had died from a disease or had been killed just by the color of its eyes. Now this could be pure bullshit, but I feel like this game is like really smartly written and well thought out, so good job. Woo-sung used to hang out with butchers and got some stuff for his mom's exorcism ritual. So he said when he sees a body, he can roughly tell the time of death or how they died. It was a really useful skill, but the problem is that he was very squeamish. Can't even handle the head of a dead pig. Dead Kijun lay with his mouth wide open. Woo-sung half closed his eyes and bent over. He was groping, pinching and turning the body, and then there was a vivid dark red stain on the body's back. Stab wound? Ugh! Write it down. The cause of death is strangling. Someone strangled him to death. There's an abrasion along the chin. There's petechia on his face, especially near the eyes. This is a dead body covered in filth. Oh, my poor baby brother. Woo-sung's voice was shaking. The stain on the body didn't change the color even when he pressed it. Every part of the body was stiff already, and the strangled mark on the neck was purple, and the veins in the eyes had burst. Ew. His lips were pressed down by his teeth, so it has a bruise, and the skin is chafed. There's bleeding on the neck a little, but the area near scar isn't swollen, which means the killer used a soft weapon. Looked at the pupil murky like mist. I got scared as well. But Woo-sung didn't back away and examine the body until the end. He's been dead for like 10 to 12 hours. Woo-sung said that in a calm voice and staggered right away. We happened to be at the liquor storage, which means there's liquor in every barrel, so we all washed our hands with it. There was only a little money from the clothes the dead man was wearing. Okay, thank you, title card. WS, what? Oh, I don't know what that means. We've gotten some initials before, but I'm still okay. After washing hands, I could still feel the body in my hand. Yeah, I didn't want to touch the body. Oh, this is Woo-sung's point of view. I was like, what are you talking about? Look at little me. I'm so cute. Oh my goodness, look how adorable I am. My brother was worried and came to me. Why wouldn't I be okay? Policemen were moving a body, and my brother and I stayed near the storage. I still don't understand the point of switching points of views, but I'm sure that'll become clear later. Anyway. I shook my head several times to shake away my anxiety before I moved my feet. How? Then what? I heard some rustling noise that is grating right in my ear. I stopped for a second, but I didn't know what it was, so I started walking again. There was the rustling noise again. Ooh. I looked up surprised, then the bush near the storage was moving. Uh-oh. Brother! There! If the suspect came back to the crime scene, this is our chance to catch him. Is he carrying a weapon? Is there an accomplice? Then I heard some familiar voice. Just relax and stay still. I can't put my hands out. What are you doing here? Wait, I think I recognize that voice. The brother got surprised and looked at me when the bush was moving even more aggressively. What the hell? If Juhee is here, it means she's not alone. What about Damo? Then it means Damo Seon and Juhee is in that bush together? Why is the bush moving like... Really? Right here, right now, when you had the whole house to yourselves? Juhee, come on! Suddenly, my head exploded and I couldn't think of anything else. Even though she's into women, how can she do such things to Damo near the dead man's house? It's called stress relief, but okay. Good heavens! She's going insane, brother! I freaked out and rushed into the bush, then Juhee popped out. Damo and Juhee were on top of each other and then got up with a leaf on each of their head. And they just had like one little leaf here, just perched there like a friggin' canary. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay. Seon's face was still blank. My legs were feeling weak, then my brother pulled my sleeves and clicked his tongue. I knew it! It's Juhee. I mean, my sister must have talked her into this. That's the wrong voice. What do you mean? Talked her into what? She must have persuaded her to come investigate with her. She got bored sitting there and then talked her into this. Oh, yeah, that's about right. Why did they ignore you like that? You're better at working. Let's go to the scene with me. It'll be fine if I can just tell them I brought you here or something like that. I wasn't that obvious, but... Juhee got up and dusted her skirt. What? What were you doing inside that bush? Something strange was here on the ground. I wanted to pull it out, but I couldn't. I thought it could be the evidence, so I tried really hard. You want to see? What the fuck is that? Is that a bone? Juhee pulled out a piece of wood on my hand while I was still at a loss. It was the size of a finger, and it was painted black. There were some Chinese letters on the side, and it was finished sophisticatedly with a gloss. A stick that I don't even know where to use. There were some Chinese letters on the side carved with a knife. It seemed like it's done by someone who doesn't have the proper skills. This is just garbage. Don't lie to me, you stupid sister. What? Then what do you think I was doing in that dirty bush? I heard this is a crime scene and something was right here. How dare you talk back to your brother? What did you just say? Juhee glared at me with her eyes wide open. My brother took that stick away from my hand, and then started spinning it in front of everyone. While we were making a fuss, he was looking at that stick for quite a long time. There are some letters here. Well spotted, me. He rubbed the letters carved with a knife and showed it to me. Then I could see little Chinese letters. I can't. What are you looking at? Oh. Su as in receiving, shim as in heart, and gay as in correcting. And apparently the game's font does not support these Chinese characters, but you can see them right here, so. Sushimigai? He read it out loud for me since I can't read. Sushimigai. Is that a name? What does that mean? Correcting the received heart? There are some letters on the object, then usually that is some kind of pen name. Like a pseudonym or literally naming the pen, because I really can't tell. But Sushimigai sounded really weird even for me, and it definitely wasn't a name. What kind of yangbang would have a name ending with guy? I think it's just nothing. We can just take it home and use it for rolling our towels. Yeah, we can do that. By the way, Seon. He suddenly called Je Seon. Damo, who's suddenly standing on the corner, looked up, looking a little nervous. I didn't know you have that side on you. I asked you to take care of my sister. How could you just get out of the house with her? I'm sure she was very persuasive. As he said something to her, Seon's face went back to being blank and cold. Colder than the ice in the winter. She looked away without saying anything. Uh-huh. Her eyes were so intimidating that even I got scared just by watching her. My brother got flustered too and licked his lips sheepishly. Gay. I'm not trying to judge you. You should go back before you get caught. I'm just worried you might get in trouble if you get caught. Okay. No, don't leave. I want you to stay. Only the sound of bugs filled this awkward atmosphere. What? Okay. We ended up having to hide in the corner of the yard. If we go out to the front, Wong-san might see us, and the wall was taller from the inside than the outside. So neither Juhee or Damo Seyeon couldn't jump over this time. Seyeon could somehow jump off the wall if she was alone, but Juhee couldn't. What? She's done it before! She snuck off before! Juhee was doodling on the ground with a twig and then looked up. But how did the thief jump off this tall anyway? You said a thief came in, killed the guy, and ran away. Is that true? How can a thief call himself a thief if he can't even jump off the wall? The owner said they've been robbed a lot since it's Youngbon's house. The thieves have been stealing chickens and stuff. Yes, but a chicken thief or ones who steal kitchen stuff are not jumping off the wall. They sneak in through the front gate or the back door. Big Youngbon's house door usually opens multiple times a day. I knew it because my family was rich. Juhee was conscious of Damo Seyeon's presence and lowered her voice at the end. What does that have to do with... I just don't understand it. At Youngbon's house, there's a daytime thief and a nighttime thief. They are two different kinds of thieves. Why don't you know? When I looked up, Juhee looked at me suspiciously, as if she found out that I'm not a Youngbon. Probably didn't, but I got so nervous. Is that so? How is the nighttime thief different from the other one? He works with the betrayer of the house. How would he rob Youngbon's storage unless he had someone to open the door from inside? And only a few people in the house would know what is where in this big house, unless he just came into Youngbon's house to get beaten to death. Guess this house alone has more than 10 storages. If any thief just came inside without anyone helping him, he wouldn't be able to rob anything and would get lost in this place. Yes, that's it. What? That's our answer. The thief is someone who didn't know anything. Then everything makes sense. What? Oh, because it seemed like they went into a random room because it's the servant's room. Because he didn't rob another room because he was an idiot. And he didn't understand how this works. Ah! The thief succeeded in breaking into this house in the middle of the night, but he was stupid. So he hid inside the room near the gate when he heard someone coming, but that was Kijun's room. That door didn't look like anyone would live behind it. But then Kijun happened to be sleeping in that room, and he fought the thief so hard that he left a blood stain on the wall, and he lost him there. You're smarter than I am. So Kijun followed the thief into the liquor storage. The thief got lost in the house and ran right into a dead end, so he hid in the liquor storage. Kijun followed him to the liquor store. He got killed by a thief who got confused, scared, and angry. If that's true, then it's Yangju's government's business, not ours. If the killer was a thief, it's better for the Yangju government to catch him. Shouldn't have put Damo Zhe in trouble if I knew the case would be solved this easily. So how do we get out of here? I can't get out through the front gate. Juhee kept calling Damo Zhe Seyeon only by her title and last name, Damo Zhe. Damo Park or Damo Huang sounds fine, but Damo Zhe? It's kind of a similar pronunciation with my Damo, so I felt weird to hear it. What happened before you two came over here? Damo Zhe, do you have any good idea other than just jumping over the wall? While Juhee was talking about how to get out, Damo was sitting still as a rock. She said she would rather jump off the wall alone than get caught by Wong-sam, but other than that, she didn't say anything. While I was getting exhausted by listening to all this nonsense, my brother kept looking at the yard. I look so sleepy right now. He was just staring at the broomstick in the corner in the yard where the sun shines. It's magic. We're going to fly away like witches. Gay witches in the night. He must be so exhausted listening to Shim Juhee all day. He ended up staring at another flower tree again. I felt bad for him, so I was about to talk to him. Then suddenly he looked up. Everyone, look at the ground. What? I said look at the ground. With his urging, everyone looked down at the ground. Damo didn't bend at all, but just looked down with her eyes. But there was nothing peculiar on the ground. When I looked up, there was just an empty yard cleaned up really. Whoa! Wait, aren't there some marks on the ground? This must have been the hardened brush mark by the broomstick. Exactly. There are hardened brush marks all over the ground. Literally all over the ground. Brother. What is so weird about having brush marks on the ground? Isn't it just natural? This time, Juhee asked. She wasn't looking at the ground anymore. Let me give you a quiz. Oh, no. I'm not smart. Stop. So we had to walk all day yesterday because we didn't have any way to stay. And you yelled at me saying you would rather go back to a tavern alone than going through this. Of course. The road was so slippery with too many flowers on the ground. I couldn't walk anymore. Can you guess why there were flowers on the ground yesterday? Do you think I'm stupid? A little bit. It's because it was raining hard yesterday, duh. Juhee answered right away. Then my brother started smiling. He waited for a while, then pointed to the ground with his fan and asked again to everyone. The ground that was wet that time had just dried up last night. So what does that mean if there are brush marks on the ground? The ground must have been messy after the rain, so they must have swept the ground with a broomstick. They swept the ground when it was still wet. Ew. Does that? That's why the brush mark is hardened like this. But who did? Finally, no one could answer at all. There's only one person who would have possibly swept the ground. The servant, Ki-jun. But that was impossible, because he died last night. Suddenly I got the chills. It's not like Yongbongs would have swept the ground or the kitchen maid would have swept the ground in the middle of the night for no reason. Did they kill their own servant? Juhee must have realized the same thing. She looked up suddenly. Then the thief who killed Ki-jun swept the ground on the way out? But then she closed her mouth. What kind of thief would risk getting caught to sweep other people's yards? Then he's not a thief anymore. Everyone raised their head like they just got hit in the head, and my brother was crossing his arms with a serious face. So it's one of the brothers then that killed the servant? But why would you kill the servant? Is it because the servant was trying to leave? Then Tomo broke her silence and began to talk. Aw, we look so cute next to each other. We're gonna be so cute together. So someone must have swept the ground to remove the footprint. In other words, whoever swept the ground had to remove the footprint between last night and the dawn. Dear God! Someone in this house had to remove the footprint so desperately for some reason. What would that be? Footprint that goes between houses still remain on the ground because the ground was wet from the rain. My brother announced in a calm voice. It's related to someone from this house. Someone in this house is at least an accomplice or maybe the killer themselves. Am I actually right for once? Thank you, Chado Card. Am I actually right for once? Because I was coming to that conclusion on my own already. Oh my god, biggest brain. Just stating the obvious. What the hell, HS? Oh! So they're telling me what point of view it is. I'm an idiot. All the people in the house gathered in the yard. Mrs. Yi ran away to her home early in the morning. There were only 5 people in the house, and since one of them died, there were 4 people left. Even so, Mrs. Yi, who was in charge of Yongbon's laundry, ran away last night after she heard about the murder in this house, so there were only 3 people standing in the yard now. Kim Shell, who was looking at me weirdly, Kim Jae, who was calmly showing us around the house, and the belt-toed woman who has been their kitchen maid was standing in line at the yard. I'm not trying to interrogate you at all, but it would be nice to confirm that you were completely innocent. So if you just tell me what you were doing last night, it would help a lot to confirm your own innocence. If I'm supposed to pick the killer here, this is not gonna go well. I soothed them with nice words as if I'm a merchant treating customers, but they all seemed so nervous. The old kitchen maid was even talking to herself like she's not herself right now. Well, I gotta talk to everyone, so we'll just go down the line. The oldest son, Kim Shell, seemed to control his anger towards his uninvited guest. His yard was messy with all these policemen. I went to my wife's grave yesterday. I didn't want to bring Ki-jun with me, so I went there alone. I stayed there the whole time. I went through the marketplace on the way home. When I came back, I didn't feel well, so I slept in my room all day. Going to ask whereabouts first and then the alibi. Wait, am I only allowed one question? Maybe he'll tell me like a hole in this story. If you went through the marketplace, then there must be a lot of witnesses. I went through the back of the marketplace, so there won't be witnesses. Okay. You can go ask around if you want. I don't care. So do you have a witness or not? I didn't want to run into anyone while I'm out and about without my servant, so I chose to walk through the darker alley. Gosh. Are you done now? You just came here to embarrass me. Then at least let me know which route you took. There's only one way from the marketplace to my house anyway. You would have to get the back of the marketplace even if you don't want to. You'll see when you get there. Okay, so I can ask about his alibi too. If you slept through all day in your room, is there anyone who saw it? Like a witness? No. Is it so wrong for a guy who just lost his wife to sleep alone? Kim Shell got angry and interrupted me. But then Woo-sung was staring at him aggressively with his big body, so he didn't go back into his room as he did earlier. Think carefully. You never woke up during sleep? Maybe you asked your kitchen maid or Mrs. Yi to bring you some water, or maybe you called a servant? Anything? Come to think of it, before he died, Ki-jun told me he would fix the floor heater for me. How convenient that your only witness is dead. I told him that I don't need it, and then I told him to go away. He could have been my witness, but you can't even ask him about it. He's dead now. I know. When was that? I don't know the exact time. I was still asleep. I think it was before sunset. Kim Shell clicked his tongue and looked away. Sure, we'll ask about the servant. Why not? We're here. Why didn't you bring Kijun with you? Wouldn't it be embarrassing for Yongbang to run into people when you're out alone without a servant? You must have some reason. I didn't want to speak ill of a dead person, but Kijun was a sly and violent guy. What? He helped capture thieves, didn't he? He was something else. He was a servant of Yongbang's house, but he'd been hanging out with all those scumbags. He brought disgrace on my family and talked naive Jay into leading him some money behind my back. He was such a scumbag. Not looking good for you, dude. Then why didn't you fire him already? Why didn't you hire another servant and kick him out? I told him to get out. I kicked him out so many times, but he just ignored and ate food at my house. What would I do with that shameless bastard who was rude to Yongbang just because he's physically stronger than us? If I report him to the police, I'm the one who's going to get embarrassed since I'm Yongbang. I'd rather not go into my wife's grave at all than taking that kind of guy with me there. Kim Shell looked away like he was trying to control his anger. Okay. Right now he looks pretty shady. So let's talk to the brother then? I really hope I'm not limited to only 2 people. I hope I get to ask everyone. The younger brother Kim Jae seemed much calmer. I guess he got cooled down a little bit. I went to Seoul as usual. I went back home late at night, so I don't know what happened during the day here. Well, I don't know location, so how far is that from here? How far is Seoul from here? It takes at least an hour even with quick steps. It's quite far. It takes about half a day to travel back and forth. So like what, 6-12 hours? Long-Sun was hearing next to me and wrote down Kim Jae's answer, groaning. I guess he's gonna send some policemen and confirm what he just said later. Well, I don't know how much this is gonna help, but I'll ask about this first. Did you notice anything unusual when you got back home? It was quieter than usual, but that was about it. After answering shortly, Kim Jae was thinking a bit more and then continued. Well, it was the day after the rain, so there weren't many people on the street. I guess they didn't want to wet their clothes with mud. When I came back home, it was already dark, but no one came to greet me. Kijun wasn't there, Mrs. Yi seemed to go back to her home. If I must find something unusual, the door wasn't locked, even though it was already dark. The door was open? Yes, when I pushed the door, it just opened. I thought Kijun unlocked it for me since it was about time I came home. And when I think about it now, it's a little weird. Which part is weird? He would have come out to greet me, but then he just opened the door that night. Maybe it wasn't Kijun who opened the door. Well, if I ask about the, personality, maybe I can corroborate the story with how violent the other brother said he was. What kind of person was Kijun? Just anything, like how he grew up, what he had done. Kijun he had a temper, so he often ruined things because of that, but he was excellent in physical chores. He came to this house as a boy servant with his father when I was young. I'd seen him for a long time, so I knew how to handle him. I don't trust anyone that well, but I trust the time. So I trusted him as his master, even though my brother hated him. Why did your brother hate him so much? Did he have any flaw? Nobody can know this, so you can keep it to yourself and just forget about it as soon as you hear it. When we were young, Kijun had exerted his power on my brother. What kind of power? What? He touched Yongban's body? Oh. Yes, they were in a fight and Kijun got mad and punched his face. He could have been executed in that kind of situation, but my brother just let it go. My brother still has never forgiven him, however. It's about his dignity. Oh, it was just a fight. Gosh, what were they fighting about? I don't want to talk about it. It's not important at this point now. Okay, let's talk to the old maid then. Anyone could tell that the kitchen maid was not in a condition to talk. God damn it, how dare you step in the governor's house like this, you bastards! The old maid kept cursing at people, shaking her head. She has become senile lately. She's not herself now. But she's been a Nobi from a young age, so she was still good at cleaning. Let's ask what she was doing yesterday. What did you do yesterday? You scoundrels, how dare you put your feet in the governor's house? I'll bring the governor right away. You stay right there. Hey, we're from Pocheong. You son of a gun, get out, out! This is the house of the governor. What are you plotting here, you goddamn bastards? The governor is too nice. He never scolds anyone and he never kicks anyone out. And look what happened now. It's going to be a mess unless we servants blah blah blah. I missed that completely. Wait, I can check. Unless we servants meddle in and do something. Oh, happened before, yes. Should take care of it as I did before I should. What do you know about Kijun? You bastards, you're all going to hell. To hell! What are you talking about, ma'am? I called her ma'am even though she's a maid, but all she did was to keep talking to herself and complaining. Woo-sung shook his head and went back. She seemed so fragile that any normal-sized guy could easily kill her by just pushing her lightly. There is no way she could have possibly killed Kijun. He was saying some shady stuff, though. Take care of it? Wong-sung gave a sigh as well. Jeez, other Yongbong would have already built some kind of a mud hut and kicked her out when she's this old. Some Yongbongs actually say that a loyal servant would have died before they wasted their master's food. Still does her part in this house, and maybe that's why they're still keeping her, but I say these Yongbongs are being nice to her. She would die in a couple of days if they kick her out in this mental condition. I heard her mind wanders. Ma'am, do you know Kijun? Speak, Kijun. What? A servant of this house. What? A servant bike? Yes? Yes, a servant with that last name. He's been long dead, you bastards. Wait, ma'am. Do you know Kijun died last night? The hell is Kijun? The dead servant's name is Sung, not Kijun. The plebeian guy who came here to be a servant couldn't even work that well since he was so skinny. Then he married a feeble girl and had a little son die before he could even give a name to the baby. Sung. I feel bad for his family, but that little girl and little boy can't work since they are sick and so weak. So the governor had no choice but to kick them out. If a servant can't work, you should kick them out. What the fuck? What? Now I'm confused. We sent them all back to their room. I sent one policeman to Mrs. Yi's house to bring her back. So now we're all just waiting for her. But no one seemed to expect much from her. Kijun was a big guy with broad shoulders. He's as big as Woo-sung. I can tell from the scar on his shoulder that whoever killed him was able to physically fight him on even ground. It would make more sense that someone from outside broke in and killed him by accident during the fight. No one in this house could have physically fought him. Jay might have. The only hope is that Mrs. Yi, that the policeman is bringing, has a body as big, as strong as General that could go out to war on a horse. But, okay. Then, before I even organized my thought, the front door opened. Surprisingly, a big woman came in through that door, but there wasn't a policeman with her. Oh my, policemen are here already. She came into the room, putting down the basket she was holding. Mrs. Yi, who was in charge of laundry, accidentally missed the policeman on the way here. What? I get food by washing other people's blankets or clothes. My family's poor, so I had to do something to eat. And the kitchen maid here is old, so sometimes I help her preparing meals as well. Mrs. Yi went into the kitchen, put some water out of the cauldron like nothing. When she heard about the murder, she got scared and ran home, but then she realized she's out of rice. So she had to come back, but she complained that she would have just stayed at home with her husband if she knew there were going to be this many policemen in this house. Meanwhile, Woo-sung and Juhee were sitting in the corner and watching Mrs. Yi like a couple of kids. Dalmo felt guilty and went to Wong-sum to confess, so Juhee had nowhere to go. So Juhee had to come with us when we came to talk to Mrs. Yi here. Oh, I hope Se-young's okay. Jeez, these beggars stole the firewood again. Happens every time. I don't come here for a few days. My husband and my kids said I shouldn't go to this house where someone died, but I had to since we have nothing to eat at home. I feel bad for the dead guy. Mrs. Yi poked the firewood storage on the kitchen wall with a wooden poker. Really? The younger brother said something about thieves as well. Did they get robbed often? Mr. J already tell you? They get robbed all the time. However poor they are still Yongbons, so thieves steal their rice every so often. They're stealing chickens and firewood these days. And Mr. Kim shouldn't know about this. He's not really himself lately after his wife died. Why? He's changed into a weird person. I think it's the aftermath of his loss. He used to be so generous and give food to beggars, but he made a big deal about a boy picking a persimmon from his persimmon tree last fall. He scolded the little boy, asking how dare he came to his house. Where else had he been in this house before he got caught, and then he even hit the kid? Jeez. I couldn't even watch it. He hit a kid for a persimmon? Juhee got shocked while listening from the corner and interrupted. Gee, how could he do that? Yongbang should also at least be classy. Juhee shook her head with a serious face. I think she forgot that she's staying with the two most unclassy Yongbangs in Hangyang. Mrs. Yi smiled bitterly and continued after agreeing with her. It's not just about the persimmon tree. He doesn't like anyone to come into his house. Whether it's a boy or a girl, he freaks out if anyone comes in. No one can come to this house, so it's better not to tell him about things like that. Mrs. Yi organized the kitchen proficiently and collected the empty chicken coop, walking back and forth between the yard and the kitchen. Then she pulled out the bundle and scooped up the rice into the bundle. What about his brother, Kim Jae? Is he still a bachelor? Yes, he's going to the big Seoul and he's really good at studying. He's so smart, so Mr. Kim is counting on him to restore the family. This was the family of governors, but now the family is ruined, so they have to restore the family. Then he should at least have 10 servants and support him with money. Even a genius has to spend all his money to pass the government examination. But here, you're the only one working here. What a disaster. The government examination is... Juhee was now crossing her arms and staring at Mrs. Yi, ranting about how ridiculous that sounds. Why now is she trying to reveal that she's from the northern village? Before I jumped in, Woo-sung poked Juhee in the ribs. Juhee grabbed her stomach and lowered her head. Then she poked Woo-sung in the ribs so hard with her elbow. They both started to tremble with their heads down. But Mrs. Yi didn't notice anything weird and just shook her head. I don't know. I'm just coming here late and helping them with their chores, so I don't know what these young bonds are thinking. There's too much for one servant, one kitchen maid to take care of everything in this house. Hee-jun used to help with some of the chores that the other guys wouldn't do, like laundry and washing the dishes. So I feel bad for him. Mrs. Yi showed her blistered hands. That her hands are always like this from the laundry she's been doing. And she said Hee-jun used to help with the women's chore, unlike other plebeians. And why did he stay in this house? I don't understand Mr. Kim either. He runs out of money, wouldn't it be better to fire a servant? A servant's salary is much more expensive than Nobi's salary. That's because Hee-jun really wanted to stay here. According to the kitchen maid, Mr. Kim wanted to fire everyone, but then he kept insisting on staying here. That's why Mr. Kim didn't like him even more. Even when Mr. Kim was being hard on him, he stayed behind and helped chores for other women. He was rough, but he was not a bad guy. Wasn't there anything suspicious? Was there anyone that would want him dead? He was not the kind of guy who would hurt anyone outside of this house. What about inside of this house? I wouldn't know even if he had done things like that. I came here after all the other servants were fired, so I don't really know much. Oh, and Hee-jun used to walk Mr. Jae to Saewon every day and wait for him at the Saewon village for a long time. People in that town would know much more about him than I do. By Saewon village, you mean the campus village under Saewon? Yes, he used to brag about drawing wicks, getting presents from the bars, and meeting a cute girl in that village. He spent all his money in that village, and it was basically like he was living there. So it might be better to go to that village and ask about Bakshi... names are hard. Okay. Wow. Alright. Thank you, title card. Oh, and we are switching points of view. And I'm guessing we're going to the village now? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I think that's a good stopping point today. So we're actually getting into a little bit of detective work. I'm still really no closer to figuring out who actually killed this servant, but it's exciting. I'm actually having more fun than I thought I would because I'm not really good at like puzzle and mystery games. But I will see this through because I want to romance my beautiful, beautiful sword wife. Thank you so much for happens to be watching this. Like, comment, subscribe, it really does help me out. And until next time, bye!